Let me share some things with you about Nigeria. Let me share some of my thoughts with you. Now, it is important at this time that we all come out and express ourselves, express our minds, especially when we have something important to share, because knowledge is very important at this time, and especially knowledge of history, knowledge of the past, like for us to know exactly what is going on. You see, we cannot know what is going on if we don't know what has gone on. I mean, what has happened in the past. So the knowledge of history is very important for us, first of all. So we need to understand, okay, where were we coming from? How did we get here? Like, for Nigeria as a nation, for us to understand what exactly is going on, what exactly is the problem, let's take a brief history. Let's just walk down the memory lane and see what exactly has happened. Okay, before Nigeria was formed, before Nigeria was amalgamated in the year 1914, before that time, when the British came to colonize Nigeria, now we know that Europeans came to colonize Africa, but the British came to colonize Nigeria and other countries that they colonized. But now we are looking at Nigeria. Okay, now when they came to colonize Nigeria, they came around the late 19th century. Now when they came to colonize Nigeria, then it wasn't Nigeria, it was the northern and southern protectorates. Northern and southern protectorates. Now remember that their main objective was for them to exploit the resources. They didn't come for any other agenda than to exploit the resources. That was the main thing they came for, and up to now, that is still what they're doing. You see, we've got to understand the foundation. You see, when the Bible says, if the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? Some people will say, oh, the righteous should pray. No, don't go and pray. Go and rebuild the foundation. Because if the foundation is faulty, why are you praying? Your prayer is not going to work. What you got to do is to rebuild the foundation if you are wise and you don't want to waste your time. Okay, now here's the point. Now, the foundation that Nigeria was built on was the foundation of exploitation. The foundation to drain the resources, irrespective of the inhabitants, irrespective of people who are living there. The foundation was to exploit the resources, period. The colonizers came to extort and exploit the resources. Now, here's the point. When they came to colonize, now, there was northern and southern protectorate. So it was in 1914 that Lord Lugard, the then colonial master, amalgamated Nigeria to be one. In other words, he combined the northern and the southern protectorate to be one. That was how Nigeria became one. Remember that Nigeria was not formed based on any criteria that can form a nation. Nigeria was not formed on any of these criteria. You see, to form a nation, you form a nation either based on religion, like what we have in most European countries. You see, most European countries, they usually have one major religion. You see, like Orthodox Christianity or Protestant or whatever. So they always have one particular religion. The same thing when you go to Middle Eastern countries. You see, when you go to Asian, the same thing. Now, so you either have a religion, you either form a country based on religion, or you form a country based on the ancestral origin, or you form a country based on the ethnicity of the people. Now, Nigeria was not formed on any of these. Nigeria is a place where you have many languages, over 500 languages. Nigeria is a place where you have many ethnic groups. Nigeria is a place where you have many ancestral origins. So what is the basis for forming a nation? Nothing. The only basis for forming that nation you call Nigeria is to be extorted, to be exploited, to be drained of its resources. That was the only reason why you formed Nigeria. So up till now, we're still having that. Nigeria is still a place where it's being drained of the resources, both the human and material and mineral resources. Up till now, that's what we have. Nothing more, nothing less. That's all you have up till now. People who say Nigeria is a country, you don't understand. Nigeria is not a country. So when you are talking about Nigeria as okay being a country, and then you want to build the country, you want to develop the country, it's a joke. You're just joking, because that's not a country at all. Now, based on what I said, now the point is this: after the colonial masters left the nation, after independence, okay, now they didn't even want to leave. You see, they didn't want to. Of course, whoever keeps you hostage, we don't want to leave you. Whoever has a slave, we don't want to leave the slave. We just want to make sure they, by all means, still retain the slave in their possession. So the colonial masters didn't want to leave Nigeria. Okay, they left because of some factors: the internal and external forces. You see, the external forces were because of the United States and Russia, when they were having the Cold War after the Second World War. So they were both the superpowers, of the world, and then they can poke nose into anything and challenge any of these colonial masters. So then that was external force. Then the internal force was also like the people living in the country in Nigeria were also not pleased with how colonial masters were treating them. So they were also like fighting, gradually against them. So all the forces combined actually made the colonial masters to recede. So they decided to leave the country. Now, here's the point: before they left the country, they made sure that they still keep their grip on the country. They still keep their grip. They still want to maintain their power over the country. And what they did was very simple. They just made sure that they made the weaker tribe to be in charge. They make the tribe that will not be that is not matured, that can be easily manipulated. They made that one to have the political power or influence over the nation. In other words, so they make sure that it is a kid that will be the leader, that will always take the helm of leadership in that place, so that they can easily manipulate that person, and then that one in turn can easily do their bidding, and then just ruin the country. Because of course, if you have a nation and the leadership is bad, you know what you expect. It's not going to make any progress or development. So that was what they did. So they made the Northerners to be in charge of leadership, in charge of political leadership. They gave them that impression that they are the one in charge. They are the one they put in charge. And when you look at other nations in Africa, that was the same thing they did. They made sure that all the ethnic groups that were not developed, that were not sound-minded, they made those ones to have the political power, so that they can easily control those ones. And then when they control them, those ones can then be doing their bidding and just destroy the country. Now, when independence came, and then they made these Northerners to be the leader of the nation, the leader of Nigeria. As a matter of fact, as at the time when Nigeria gained independence, it was this man, what did they call him? Sir Ahmadu Bello. Ahmadu Bello had the highest political power in Nigeria. You see, Then he didn't want to become the first prime minister, so he just handed the power to Tafawa Balewa. Say, okay, you go and do it. But he is still the one having the highest political power in the nation. You see, so Tafawa Balewa was the first prime minister. Then it goes on and on like that. Now, up to now, what do you have with Nigeria? What you have in Nigeria is very simple. That place, first of all, understand it's not a nation. Second, the power, the political power, that's the aim of leadership, was given to what we can say the immature group of the nation, like what you can call like a kid, to handle the leadership, so that everything will not be organized, things will just be scattered, like nothing's gonna work, like what you have right now. How will you tell somebody, okay, you have a northerner to be president of Nigeria now, Buhari? Now people complain about the about the president. Oh, he's not doing well. He's not. What do you want the guy to do? Can you do beyond your mental capacity? Can you perform beyond your brain? You cannot give what you don't have. If you're not sound-minded, if you're not matured mentally, how do you undo the helm of the leadership? You cannot. Even if people are giving you ideas and suggestions, it's not going to work, because you cannot even connect. You cannot relate with what they're saying. So how do you make change in such a nation? And there is a nation, okay, quote and unquote, a nation where you have brightest minds in the world, where you have great minds, people who are doing mighty things all over the world. People say, oh, Nigerians don't have, we don't have value, or we don't have something. The problem is not even the people, really. The problem is not the people. The main problem of Nigeria is leadership. 100%. It's leadership. And then the colonial masters know what they have done. That, okay, in as much as they cripple the leadership, they are still in charge of that place they call Nigeria. They are still in charge. And that's what they are doing now. How do you know that the problem of Nigeria is not the people, that is the leadership? When people leave the country, you see how they do well. You see how people do well when they leave the country. So it's the location, it's the environment, it's the system that is not working for them. When people leave the country, people do well. But why is it that when they're in the country, that's when they're crippled, their talent died and people cannot do well? Because the colonial masters want to make sure that they made that place unfavorable for the people, so that they can keep jumping out. Okay, when they jump out, they come to their place. Okay, they work for them. When they work for them, they boost their own economic system, and then they can use that in turn to extort and exploit the country again. Actually, I just skipped a lot of things. I did another podcast that you can listen to, where I really explained in depth what actually happened before, during, and after the colonialism. You got to understand that for you to get a full picture. That Nigeria, before the colonial masters came, Nigeria was operating. Okay, it wasn't Nigeria at that time. It was, by kingdoms. So everybody had their kingdom. The Oyo kingdom, the Ife kingdom, the Benin kingdom, different kingdoms. You have different kingdoms like that. Now, these kingdoms were operating on their own, and of course, everything was okay until these colonial masters came. And when they came, and then they started this before they came, there was this slavery period when the kingdoms, the kings were selling their slaves to them, and then they were taking them to what do they call it, to Latin America, and then to Caribbeans, and then South America. Okay, so they were taking the slaves to the Caribbeans and South America. They used the slaves, use them for their plantations. When they use them for plantations, then they sell the product to Western Europe, to Britain. When they sell the product, the Britain turn those products to finished goods. So they bring those finished goods to West Africa, and they sell those goods. Okay, that place that we also call Nigeria now, they sell those goods to those kings. They sell those goods to those kings, and they buy slaves again. You see, so it's like a cycle. So they buy slaves, use the slaves, use them for their own economic empowerment. So the money they got from the economic empowerment, they come and use that money to come and buy more slaves. The same system they are doing up till now. The same thing. Now, what happens? When you're in Nigeria, you're not comfortable. Everywhere is collapsed. The system is collapsed. You can't even survive. You want to jump out if you have the capacity. When you leave the country, where do you go to? You go to Western countries. This is where you have your former colonial masters. You go and work for them. When you work for them, they become more economically empowered, and then they can have more resources, more financial resources to lend us. They can lend us more money, and then by that they put us more in their thraldom. They put us more in their thraldom, because they say whoever pays for the piper leads the tune. Whoever pays for the piper leads the tune. So if they are sponsoring you, giving you money, of course they're gonna give you suggestions. They're gonna give you ideas on what to do with your economy, and that's what's happening in Nigeria now. You see, every time government is borrowing money, they are borrowing money. You see, because even the leadership is miniatured. The leadership is miniatured, is so immature that they cannot even understand basic things. They cannot understand because they are babies. They are dummies. They are puppets. They don't understand, and that is the idea. That is the strategy of the colonial masters, to make sure that they put that place, that nation, in that state of jeopardized leadership, in that state of collapsed leadership, because they know that if the leadership is not good, forget any other thing. Forget any other thing. If the leadership is not good, forget any other thing. Somebody said, "I'm not afraid of the group of lions led by a sheep, but I'm afraid of a group of sheep led by a lion." What does that mean to you? It's leadership. In other words, if just the leader is a lion, and then even you have the followers to be sheep, it can turn the followers to be lions, because he is the leader. You see, but if you have a group of lions, that is even mighty people, and then you now have a leader to be sheep, of course, you know what you expect. The lions will be crippled. Exactly what is happening in Nigeria now. So the problem we have in that place is not with the people, so to speak. The problem with the people is very minute compared to what we need to do with the leadership. Okay, now talking about this leadership, what exactly do we need to do if we are talking about leadership? Bear in mind that I said Nigeria was formed based on exploitation. Nigeria was never formed on the basis of any common platform, like what you can use to form a nation, like I mentioned earlier. It was formed based on exploitation of the resources. They just want to exploit the resources, that's all. And then that was the foundation. So you're not talking about Nigeria now as a nation. Oh, we are a nation, we have population, we have, just start telling all those stories. I'm like, no. You're building wrong. You're building something on wrong foundation, and then you're talking about the benefits. What are you talking about? All the benefits are nothing if the foundation is faulty. You got to go back to the foundation and correct it. So how do we work on the foundation? Very simple. How do you work on the foundation? You work on the foundation by breaking the siege of the colonial masters, by destroying their manipulative system that they've already set up. So how do you do that? Okay, now they amalgamated that place they call Nigeria. Break the amalgamation. We don't need amalgamation. Don't amalgamate anything. de-amalgamate Nigeria. In other words, that's how you hear some people calling for secession. You see, the southeast, the southwest, everybody wants to go. That's the thing. Not even only in Nigeria, even many other African countries. The same thing is happening in practically every African country. The same thing. For you to know that this problem is a problem of colonial masters, not even the problem of a location, but the problem of colonial masters. Because these people, they know what they did, you see, to just keep exploiting and manipulating the people and draining the resources. That is what they keep doing. The same thing is happening in other African countries. The same thing. The same thing. If you go to what do you call it? If you go to Sudan, the same problem. South Africa, the same problem. Guinea, the same problem. Congo, the same problem. Mention any African country, the same problems they have. The same thing. Kenya, the same problem. You see. So it's the problem of the colonial masters. Forget about the people. Oh, people have problems. That one is a minor problem. The main problem is this mad colonial masters, you see, that are still retaining their power, their grip over African nations. You see. Now, so how do we rebuild the foundation? How do we break the siege? By de-amalgamating the nation. That is why we have people are calling for breakage of the country. Of course, we have two options. Is either Nigeria break one, or the restructure. And the restructuring is not okay, let's form new constitution, or let's form new. That is not the restructuring. The restructuring must be to turn that place into what you can call regions. To turn it into regions. Any system that can just break the strategy that the colonial master have already set up. Any system that can break that thing is going to help. It's going to help with the restructuring. So if, for instance, we decide, okay, we want to restructure, and that will mean to decentralize the power. In other words, don't make one person to be president. Turn that place to regions, like the way they had before. But even now, it's even like more independent. The regions will be independent. Nobody is controlling anybody. Everybody is independent on their own. Okay, more or less like the break, but in this case, they're still together, but everybody is doing their own thing. Exactly. That's the restructuring we're talking about. Like to decentralize power. Don't give power to one person. One person must not hold power. Give power to 3, 4, 5 people. Let them hold power. So that the colonial masters cannot control 5 people at the same time. They can easily control one person. That's even like a baby, a dummy. They can easily control that one. But they cannot control 5 people at the same time. Or better still, people will raise alarm that something is going on. 2 people cannot be mad at the same time. You see? So if they decentralize power, it's going to help with the restructuring. And then everybody can be independent. Everybody can be on their own. That is if they don't break at all. Like everybody break and just go on your own way. If they don't break, then let them restructure. And again, that restructuring must be capitalized on decentralizing power. That is the main thing, to decentralize power. Even the issue of having a partial parliamentary system is not even going to work. I mean, where you have prime minister, you have the prime minister, then you have the president, all those funny things. That one is not even the main what we need. What is needed is to decentralize power and turn and regionalize or pigeonhole the nation, compartmentalize it. That's the point. All right. Now, that is the first thing to do. Okay, when we are looking at what we all need to do as a nation. What we all need to do, that's like a collective effort, collective responsibility. Worry about individual responsibility, which I even like to talk more, okay? Because I know that, when we are talking about these things now, but how can we affect the change? How can we really do something? Okay, if I'm charged, if I want this thing to happen, but there are thousands and millions of people who I also need to consider. So how do we really effect this change? Okay, that is now where the individual responsibility comes in. Now, you see, what every one of us need right now, is what I can call empowerment. Everybody needs to be empowered. You see, in my language, in my place, they have one proverb. They say, if you've not got empowered, you can't dare ask the death that killed your father. You see, if you have not got empowered, you dare not go and ask somebody that what killed my father, when you are not empowered. They're going to kill you again because you're not empowered. So what you need to do is to first of all be empowered. Then you can now raise your voice and say, who killed my father? Then if anybody come against you, then you can attack that person and deal with the person. Exactly what we need to do. We need to be empowered. Exactly what we need to do. Everybody needs to be empowered. How do you get empowered? You can be empowered in different ways. You see, you can be empowered financially, very important. You can be empowered, knowledge-wise. You empowered yourself with knowledge. That's even more important. You can empower yourself spiritually to be grounded in spiritual knowledge. That's important. Like for you to understand life in spiritual terms. Understand how to control things. That's important. You see, empower yourself even socially. That's important. Empower yourself emotionally, psychologically. That's even important. So all these forms of empowerment, individually, we need to start working on it. If you are a young person, you're listening to what I'm sharing with you now, get yourself empowered. That is what you need. Get yourself empowered. So what are you doing right now that okay, you know what? I'm getting myself empowered. Even what I'm sharing with you now, do you know in a way I'm getting you empowered? I'm sharing knowledge with you that if you receive and understand what I'm sharing with you, it can empower you mentally and know that okay, this is what is going on. Okay, I know quite a number of us actually know what is going on. I have some knowledge on what is going on. But when you also get the same idea, the same knowledge from another person, it also reinforces the knowledge that you have and build. You also get you get some extra things that you can also work on, build on, and use that later. You see, so we need that empowerment. Youths, we need that empowerment. We need to be empowered financially. Yes. So if there's anything, whether you're in Nigeria now or anywhere you are, okay, if you're in Nigeria, to look at it, yeah, it can really be so hard when you're in Nigeria and you're trying to just make ends meet. You're trying to struggle and just do something for yourself and all that. I understand. Now, you look at it. Okay, out of all the forms of empowerment I mentioned, which one can you start with? All of them are important. Which one can you start with? Can you start with knowledge? Because no knowledge is wasted now. Can you really soak yourself in knowledge? If you are doing something, make sure you are grounded in knowledge. Make sure you know what you know. You see, if you, let's say maybe you are you have a profession, maybe you have a job or something, know what you know. Know that thing that you're doing. Know it. You see, get the knowledge. Be grounded in knowledge. Be empowered by knowledge. If you are into finances, make sure you empower yourself financially. You see, empower yourself. Don't be prodigious. Don't squander money. Try to save as much money as you can. You see, be resourceful. Empower yourself financially. Okay, if it's about socially, get more contacts, network with people, meet with people, connect, network, connect with people anywhere, all around the world. In fact, Now with the help of internet, you can connect with people all around the world. So build your social strength. You see, your social assets. Build it, connect with people. Don't just lock yourself in a confinement. Don't lock yourself in the confinement of religion. You see, that's another major plague. That's another major plague in Africa. They have plagued us with both religion and so many other things. Yeah, but religion is a major problem right there. Like, so don't confine yourself in the in the confinement of religion. Say, I'm a Christian, I don't want to talk to Muslim. Who told you somebody there's no? Don't discriminate. Don't discriminate. Whether somebody is Hindu or somebody is Buddhist or somebody or somebody is even atheist, I don't care. Do not discriminate. Connect with people. Now, I'm not saying you should go and be looking for bad people and connect with them. I mean, like, if somebody has a good mind, if somebody has a right mind, if somebody has right values, connect with them. Even those that you feel like you can influence them, connect with them. Connect with people. Do not limit yourself to just one caucus. If you, let's say, your immediate environment, go beyond that place. Connect with other people. Don't limit yourself to just your physical environment. Connect with other people. Very important. Build your social strength and capital, your social capital. Now, another thing you can do, of course, internally, is to build your inner strength. To build your inner strength, build your psychological strength, build your emotional strength. You see, yeah, of course, there'll be some times, when you're going through some emotional turmoil, you're going through some things, yeah, a lot of things going on within you and all that. So use all that to build your strength, your inner strength. You see, we are talking about empowerment. Empower yourself. See, all these things, they take time. It's not gonna be like magic. Something just happened overnight. No, it's gonna take time. So you want to take your time to build your strength, both the inner strength and the outer strength. Yeah, your physical strength too. Yeah, if you need to maybe do more exercise, move your body, go to gym, or anyone that works for you, just at least make sure you're healthy, you're fit. You understand? Yeah, all that is good. I mean, even if you want to get some knowledge about how to be physically fit, self-defense, what do we call it? What do we call this thing that we do, like, for self-defense? Yeah. Okay, so it just okay, maybe I'll remember later. Yeah, so you can get the knowledge. Yeah, martial arts. You can go and learn martial arts. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna train my children or teach them martial arts. They got to know it, like martial arts. You go and learn martial arts. Yeah, physical defense, self-defense, and know how to handle situations. Be street smart. Be street smart. So all of these things are very important, and then which other way can you empower yourself? Of course, you can empower yourself spiritually. Very important. Get the real spiritual knowledge, not all these junks that religion are just talking all over the place. Most of the spiritual information religion has abused. That's the problem. Most spiritual information religion has abused. So if you want to get spiritual knowledge, get it from people who are really deep in spiritual understanding, who have spiritual understanding, not people who are just being superstitious and they don't even know what they're saying. People are just religious bigots who don't know what they're saying. Don't get spiritual knowledge from those ones. Get spiritual knowledge from people who are sound mentally. People who are sound. People who have spiritual knowledge, not religious knowledge. People who have spiritual knowledge. People who understand the spiritual things. Who understand the art of meditation. Who understand the art of connecting with the spirit. You see, all of these things. So get spiritual knowledge, how to handle things spiritually, and all of that, the heart of faith and hope and love, a lot of spiritual things, prayers and all that. Yeah, so get real spiritual knowledge, not religious knowledge. You can use that to empower yourself. You can also empower yourself, of course, from other things I've mentioned, by also your profession. Your profession, whether you have a career or you have a vocation, or anything you're doing, or maybe your talent or whatever. So just build your skills, whatever thing you're doing. Whether you're a doctor or you're a computer engineer or anything, whatever profession you have. So just make sure you're professional and you're good at what you do. You can use that also to empower yourself, to increase your social class, and of course your influence. Yeah. So individual empowerment is very important. Now, what are you going to do with this empowerment? Yeah, of course, when you are empowered, now you can stand on your 2 feet, straight up your head. Now you can stand with full stamina and stability. You can stand firm and confront your confrontations, and confront your enemies, confront your oppositions. Now you can stand and make your assertions bold and clear to the public, and let people know, this is what I stand for. This is what I stand for. Because if we are going to really deal with the problem that Nigeria has now, many of us need to be empowered. That's the truth. Many of us need to be empowered. We cannot be at this level, at the level where we are now. Many of us are not empowered. That's why our voice are not even being heard. We are not empowered. But the moment most of us are empowered, we can stand on our feet. We can stand and be bold to tell the enemies, and be bold to tell the colonial masters that enough is enough. We are breaking out of this thraldom. Enough is enough. But when we are not empowered, of course, nobody's going to hear us. You see, our voice is not going to be heard if we are not empowered. That's the point. But if we are empowered, we can stand. So every one of us need to look at, okay, you know what? Now I have an objective. Now I have a goal. You can follow through those areas I told you step by step and see how you can empower yourself one by one. Okay, from one to another, because they are all important. From one to another. I know as it is now, you may not be empowered in maybe all of them or some of them or whatever. It doesn't matter. But when you have a target that okay, let me look at the ones I'm already empowered or the ones I'm working on. Okay, how can I work more on these other ones? Because it is until we are empowered, that is when we can take hold of our possessions. It is until we are empowered, that is when we can take hold of our possessions. If we are not empowered, we cannot say anything, we cannot make any impact. Our voices cannot be heard if we are not empowered. That is the point, that is the truth. If we are not empowered. So the youth, we need to stand. We need to work. We need to take responsibilities. So we can't just be there, okay, just be lamenting, you know what, things are not just going well, things are going bad, this and that. We are not going to keep lamenting and crying over spilled milk. We've got to take action. We've got to take responsibility. Really, we've got to take responsibility. And you know what? If we are going to fight, it's not going to be an easy one. The colonial master will not want to, will not just want to live like that. It has to be a serious fight. Very serious one, man. It has to be a very serious one. So that is why we need to be empowered, with knowledge, with resources. That is why we need to be empowered. It's not going to be a joke, man. It's not a joke. It has to be a serious thing. We need to be empowered. We need to be empowered. If there's anything every one of us needs to do as individuals, is to be empowered. Keep accruing resources. That is the point. Keep accruing resources. Keep accruing resources. Accrue more and more resources. That is the point. Don't stop. Both mental resources, both physical resources, both social resources, human resources. Keep accruing resources. That is the bottom line. Keep accruing resources. Very important. That's what we got to do. And I tell you that place that you call Nigeria, I tell you 100%, that place in the next, okay, my projection, in the next 50 years, you will not hear anything like Nigeria. What do you mean Nigeria? You will not hear anything Nigeria. What is that? Nigeria is just an arbitrary, name that was imposed on us. And then now somebody will call themselves Nigerian. You need to go and check the history and know where you're coming from. You call yourself a Nigerian, really? If not that, okay, we're just trying to formalize things and okay, just try to do things formally, but in your mind, by your identity, you know who you are. You know you are not a Nigerian. By your identity, by who you are, you know you're not a Nigerian. You don't give yourself that bad tag, that bad name. Say I'm a Nigerian. You raise up your hand and seriously, So we need to break away from that siege. That is the point, and that will be after we've empowered ourselves. After we're empowered, that is what we need to work on right now, bro. Sis, that is what we need to work on right now. That is what we need to start doing now. That is exactly what we need to start doing now. That is what's going to bring the change that we want. That is what's going to bring the change that we want. The change that we want cannot happen by magic or by say something will happen sometimes. No. We are the one that will make the change. We are the one that will make the change. Nothing. Even God is gonna change our country. Yes, it is we that God will use now. God cannot come down from heaven and change it. We are the gods that God will use. You see, we are the God that will be used. So that is why we need to work. That's why we need to be empowered, so that we can liberate our nation, so that we can liberate ourselves out of the siege of these evil colonial masters, of these evil devilish human beings that even up to now they're still besieging that continent of Africa. They're still holding firm their grip on Africa. They will be the one to tell you, oh, the leaders are not doing well. They are the one running the show, and they are the one that will come out and complain about the leadership. So they are now using the leaders against the citizens, eating themselves against each other, eating themselves against each other. All the problems that we have, the problem of insecurity, corruption, bad infrastructure, name it, unemployment, crime, corruption, everything is ascribed to them. Everything, nothing else. Everything is ascribed to them. They are in charge. They know what is going on. They know what they are doing. 100%. They know. So, but we need to be empowered. We need to be empowered. You see, if you have knowledge about these things, or if you have really studied the history, you will know what I'm talking about. 100%. You will know what I'm talking about. 100%. You see. So, we need to be empowered. Individually, we need to be empowered. Let's increase our empowerment. Let's keep empowering ourselves. We need to be empowered. Alright, so that is my church. That is my church. Really, beloved, that is my church. And I believe that very soon, very soon, very soon. The change has already kick-started, I can see, but it will become more and more evident. It will become more and more evident. Yes, I believe. Thank you for your time.